Welcome to Short-Haul Aviation Industry. This video will assess the external and internal strategic analysis of Europe's short-haul airline industry, including the British airline company easyJet. To all of you watching and listening, please enjoy and relax. The European airline market has been entirely fueled by short-haul low-cost carriers, growing at high double-digit rates and captured large parts of the market from 5% in 2001 to 32% in 2008. In some European countries, they even dominated the market. In Spain, they account for 50%, and in Poland, they account for even 52%. Budget airlines have been able to expand their market share in an impressive way.
easyJet's strategic position corresponds to the short-haul low-cost aviation sector. easyJet's competitive advantage is based on the elements of the cost leadership strategy, simple product and low-cost operations. easyJet is the fourth largest short-haul carrier in Europe with a market share of 7.6%. Is operating over 600 routes across 30 countries with over 200 aircraft. Is employing over 8,000 people, including 2,000 pilots and 4,500 cabin crew. Last year served over 55 million passengers with a strong position in key markets, number 1 in Gatwick, Milan, Geneva, and number 2 in Paris. Consequently, easyJet remains the UK's largest airline with around a 20% share of the short-haul market and the second largest short-haul carrier in France with a market share of 12%. In Italy, easyJet has increased its market share to 35%, and in Portugal, currently the second largest airline with 13% market share.
The macro-environmental principal risks and uncertainties described below are considered to have a meaningful impact on the industry. From the economic point of view, there is unknown territory of the economic situation. Demand for the air travel is characterized by very high income elasticity, therefore the airline industry is very dependent on the economy and its trade cycles. Sudden and significant increases in oil prices and movement in foreign exchange rates would significantly impact oil and any other costs. Increases in oil costs have a direct impact on the financial performance. The instability of the euro would give rise to adverse pressure on revenue, load factors and residual values of aircraft. Also, high interest rates may deter investment because it costs more to borrow. The competition and the industry consolidation of the market is highly competitive. Industry consolidation will affect the competitive environment. This would cause a loss of market share and also an erosion of the revenue. Also, there is still a weak consumer environment where travelers are still keeping an eye on their travel expenses. Political and legal factors or the government tax policies on landing charges in different countries and also higher taxation on short-haul travel, reducing the growth and jobs as the majority of the UK's tourists come from Europe. Most of the airline workforce is unionized. If any industrial actions were taken place, it could impact the ability to maintain flight schedules, reputation and also financial performance. Last but not least, the conflicts in the Middle East have a strong influence in the oil prices. Technologically, the industry has to keep track of technological developments in the e-commerce field. Adoption of new aircrafts with more efficient engines. Nanotechnology in order to make aviation greener, from quieter planes to the latest aircraft designs to make air travel more sustainable. Environmental or the reductions on CO2 emission to follow the EU regulations. Increased emphasis on sustainable green development initiatives. Reduce, reuse and recycle. Industry responsibility in the climate change, local air quality and noise levels. Forces of nature such as extreme weather conditions, fog, heavy snow or contrails, and also the natural disasters like volcanic ash. Any widespread disruption could adversely affect operations and financial performance. acts of terrorism, threat or attack. Failure to prevent a major security-related threat or attack from other internal or external sources or deal with it effectively will affect reputation, operations, and financial performance.
The competitive environment in which short-haul airline industry operates is characterized by a highly intense competition. The airline industry is so saturated that there is hardly space for a newcomer. It is a deregulated industry but also one of the most expensive, so the threat of new entrants is low. The cost involved with switching airplane is decreasing as buyers can easily access the internet to compare and buy air tickets. Customers are highly price sensitive and have a lot of power. The availability of substitution might be with the new developments of high-speed rail networks, which is not cheap. Therefore, the threat of substitution for the moment is low. Nevertheless, there are only two major manufacturers for large commercial aircraft, Airbus and Boeing, so the power of supply is high. As a result, the output of the short-haul aviation industry is an unattractive one.
The 2012 financial statements show that easyJet increased their revenue by 11.6% to £3,854 million, with an operating cost of £3,537 million. The pre-tax profits reached £317 million, almost 28% more than what they made in 2011, which is 8.2% as a pre-tax profit margin. easyJet shareholder earned 62.5 pence per share, which is increased by 19% from 2011. The proposed dividend jumps more than 100% to 21.5 pence per share. The return on capital employed, including operating lease adjustment, improved by 1.5% to 11.3% in 2012. In line with the prior year, easyJet generated strong operating cash flow in the year principally, driven by growth in forward booking and revenue per seat. Operating cash flow exceeded capital expenditure and ordinary dividend paid, in line with the ambition of self-fund growth and fleet renewal.
The internal factors that are favorable to easyJet's business venture are flights to primary airports, offering convenience for business travelers on tight schedules. Fast turnaround times on aircraft. Planes are ready to take off within 30 minutes from landing, increasing frequency of flights. Strong brand recognition across countries, featured on airline TV series, spreading the name. Effective and targeted advertising campaigns, catchy slogans. The right combination of quality and price, large route network and strong market shares in valuable markets, low cost and efficient business model derived from scale and cost advantage, high asset utilization, a young efficient fleet with the low cost ownership and industry leading load factors with a solid financial growth over the years. The disadvantages relative to others is that reliance solely on price could result in competitors drawing customers away by offering lower prices. Single fleet risk. easyJet is dependent on Airbus as its sole supplier for aircrafts. Technical or mechanical issues could ground the fleet, causing negative perception by the flying public. Also, they are sensitive to additional charges. The external chances to improve easyJet's performance are the opportunities for further geographical expansion. Increasing international reach in rising markets such as Middle East or China. Crossing international borders and experimenting with long-haul segments. Opportunity to focus on the business travel market. To sum up, the external elements in the environment that cause trouble for the business are: the rise in oil prices will obviously have an impact on the bottom line, the uncertainty of the economic environment, currency fluctuations, competitors, greater rivalry could lead to dangerously low profit margins, price sensitivity of the customer base, rising costs such as airport charges, security or insurance, environment, air disaster, aviation policy, EU and UK, regulations, deregulation, trade unions and terrorism. Overall, turning Europe orange has been a huge success, a truly pan-European on short-haul air transport network. Nevertheless, the dynamic short-haul aviation industry will face many headwinds. Detailed risk management process is needed to ensure that risks are identified and mitigated where possible, although many still remain outside the industry's full control. In this case, adverse weather, pandemics, acts of terrorism, changes in government regulation, and macroeconomic issues.